Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paranormal News. Tonight, I've got a crazy, crazy story for you. I just found out about this. This one is nuts, man. So let me just get right to the article. Y'all aren't going to believe this. It comes from courthousenews.com, and the headline is Alabama harvested the organs of inmates without consent, families say. A long-standing agreement between the Department of Corrections and the University of Alabama at Birmingham gives the commissioner authority to permit an autopsy, including the removal of organs and tissues. It's written by Gabriel Tynes and it was published April 11, 2024. So this is a relatively recent one. Families of Alabama inmates targeted the state's practice of harvesting organs from the bodies of dead inmates, often in direct opposition to their wishes, in a trio of lawsuits filed Thursday. The practice first came to light in December 2023 after the family of 43-year-old Brandon Dotson filed a federal lawsuit claiming his body was returned from a state autopsy in a decomposed condition, with his scalp peeled back and his heart missing. You believe that? That is crazy. And they sent the body back like that. The lawsuits in Montgomery County Circuit Court are the first state actions to follow up on the Dotson case. The first of Thursday's lawsuits was filed on behalf of the survivors of 66-year-old Jim William Kennedy, who died at Limestone Correctional Facility on April 13, 2023. According to an agreement between the Department of Corrections and the University of Alabama at Birmingham, he was transported to the school's Department of Pathology for an autopsy the same day. But the Kennedy family claims they were not notified of his death until 4 days later. They filed a claim for his body April 17th, with a request it be sent to a funeral home of their choosing. Upon receipt, the funeral home notified the family Kennedy's body was in a severely damaged state, missing all of his organs, and that some of his bones, including his ribs, were broken. Kennedy's daughter emailed Limestone's warden the following day, requesting the return of her father's internals, but never received a reply. Another family member spoke with a university representative April 20th, but was told as a teaching institution it was their policy to harvest organs during autopsy, and they were no longer in possession of Kennedy's organs. So they got donated to the college to be used in experiments, essentially, for medical research. That's crazy. Similarly, Arthur Olson Stapler was a 85-year-old inmate who died on September 23, 2023, while incarcerated at a facility for the aged and infirmed. When his body was transported to the school 2 days later, the Department of Pathology removed his organs during an autopsy. When the family hired a private physician to conduct the second autopsy, they learned his body was received without organs. According to the complaint, most of the organs were later recovered, but several had been damaged. A third family claims the state unlawfully retained the organs of 36-year-old Anthony Perez Brackens, who died on June 28, 2023, at Limestone Correctional Facility. Bracken's family was notified of his death by other inmates the same day, and his mother immediately began communicating with the warden and filled out the paperwork to claim his body. But Brackens was transported to the university for an autopsy and then to a funeral home in Decatur on June 30th. When Bracken's family requested a second autopsy, they learned all his organs had been removed and Brackens was already embalmed. Stonewalled for more information by the Department of Corrections, a representative of the school then told the Brackens family it was their policy to retain organs and it was too late to retrieve them. Could you imagine that? Finding out that they stole your family member's organs and then saying, hey, I want those back. And them saying, oh, well, it's our policy that we can do that, and sorry, it's too late. Can't have them back. That's crazy. Reportedly, a January hearing in the Dotson case was not revealing, with witnesses from both the Alabama Department of Corrections and the University of Alabama at Birmingham testifying they didn't know where Dotson's heart was. But Dotson's family wasn't the only one asking questions. In the past 3 months, the state's practice has also generated complaints from the family of a 74-year-old inmate whose body was returned to the family without a brain or other internal organs. While the same happened upon the death of 43-year-old Kelvin Moore, whose family reported in January they were considering a lawsuit. According to the families, the agreement between the University of Alabama at Birmingham and the Department of Corrections for autopsy services has been in place since 2005, and the school was paid $2,200 for each one performed. Citing a 2018 study, the families note in their complaints that nearly 50% of the department's revenue was generated from autopsies for the Department of Corrections or the Department of Forensic Sciences. So they're making half of their money off selling people's organs. That's what that's saying. That is some dirty, dirty stuff, man. That is crazy. The agreement further gives the Department of Corrections Commissioner the authority to grant permission for the autopsy and the removal of organs or tissues for further study on said inmate. Thursday's lawsuit claims the agreement is unlawful and permitted the conversion of property, namely the remains of their loved ones. The plaintiffs are represented by Michael J. Strickland at Strickland and Kendall in Montgomery. Naming Alabama Department of Corrections Commissioner John Q. Ham, sorry about that, a handful of physicians and a university as defendants. The families bring charges of unlawful conversion of anatomical parts, conspiracy, fraud, negligence, unjust enrichments, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. In February, Alabama State Representative Chris England, a Democrat, proposed a bill seeking to make it a felony for a medical examiner to retain a deceased person's organ or organs without the notification and consent of the next of kin in certain circumstances. The bill is pending introduction into the House Judiciary Committee. Why the hell is that not against the law already? I mean, there's got to be a law that says that you can't steal people's organs when they die. I mean, that's insane to me. And these people at the prison, it says in the let me go up here to the top. It says in the article here that they make 50% of their income from selling the organs. Let me take these off. I got to wear these to read because I can't read that without them. I'm old, but I know that with all the lights and stuff, I'm sure there's a glare on them, so I'll take them off for you. It says that 50% of their income comes from selling these organs. Now, that's nuts to me, man. That they've done that. And from what I was reading about that, I've read multiple articles and seen multiple news reports on this. And from what I've read, there's suspect that there's hundreds of people that they've done this to. So the only reason these people know is because they kind of felt something was sketchy. And so they hired a forensic pathologist to do a second autopsy to see what was going on, why the person died. And then they were told by the pathologist that, hey, man, when I did my second autopsy, I noticed that he ain't got no heart. His heart's missing. So then other people started saying, wait a minute, let me make sure, But if they didn't have a couple grand at least to hire this guy to do a second autopsy, if they were a poorer family that they just got the remains shipped, they had a funeral and buried them, how many hundreds and hundreds, how many thousands of inmates died there, and this damn Department of Corrections sold their organs? Whew, that's crazy. Let me know down in the comments section what you guys think. I'd be interested to hear. But to me, this is just evil. I mean, this is just dirty as hell. I mean, that's my view on it. You can tell me what you think. As always, up to you to make up your own mind, and I will catch you on the next one. Till I speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.